Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. I know I talk a lot about the Grass River, but I want you to realize that every one of these tributaries that come out of the mountains or come out of the Adirondacks and enter into the St. Lawrence River have the same basic species that the other does. And one of the streams that I don't talk a lot about is the Oswegatchie River. Recently, I spent some time with a friend of mine, Melissa, who is a professor at St. Lawrence, and she's an avid fisherman, and she told me that she's been putting her canoe in some upper reaches of the Oswegatchie, and she absolutely loves it. She says, unlike the Grass River that has got so shallow, the Oswegatchie seems deeper, and she's able to really enjoy the fishing there. And she's catching bass and northern pike and walleyes, and she says, I know there's muskie in there. She says, I just haven't hooked one yet, but I've seen them. She says, I've seen them. And again, this is a wonderful stream. Each one of these streams is different from the other. While they have the same species of fish, they have whole different geography. I guess that's the best word I can use. The one thing they do have in common is they're brutal to wade. The Grass River and the Racket River in particular are treacherous to wade. I've talked about this before. I recommend felt on the bottom of your feet. Use felt on the bottom of your shoes or your boots, whatever you're wearing, and that can make a huge difference. But in fishing the rivers, because of the difference in their topography, is really different. Fishing the Grass River and the Racket River is so different, and they both have wonderful smallmouth in them. And I can tell you that a recent trip to the Racket, if you can discover those areas in the Racket that have bigger numbers of fish, and that's one thing I've noticed is that there are regions that aren't as good fishing, but boy, if you can find those, especially above Potsdam in the Racket River, as you go upstream, there's some wonderful stretches that really don't get fished hardly at all unless somebody has a canoe or something. They can reach these stretches. But the same baits work tremendously. And I wanted to talk about this because these two rivers are so different, and they offer really different fishing opportunities. I'd say it's tougher fishing the Racket River than it is the Grass River. There's greater areas of elevation drop, and there's a lot of fast water. And the other thing, with the Racket, you really never know exactly how high the water is going to be because the fishing situation changes as the water goes up and down, and that can happen, on a daily basis. The water can be very different one day to another, whereas the Grass River, the water conditions are more stable. And but I did want to talk about the Oswegatchie. And the thing of it is, until we fish these waters, you have to spend day after day going to these areas to really learn how to fish these waters, to learn what pockets of water will have the fish in them and how to present your lures. It's a lot different. And that's the one river that I really want to learn more about is the Oswegatchie, because I know there's some wonderful fishing there. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.